So I'm here. Jared,
This is
you're there.
Jared, yep.
Deb Arbogast is here.
Tammy and Ina are here, and we did get on the last call as well. We had a little trouble waiting for Zoom to open up for us, but we're here.
Okay.
This is Tiffany.
Yep.
Yeah, Amanda Marr with LeadingAge.
Melissa
B.
Martinez. Sorry.
No, sorry, Melissa, go ahead.
Melissa Martinez, Laguna Rainbow Corporation.
Dr. B with Meharry Medical College.
Christina Lee from Kaufman and Associates.
Tatiana Morales with Kaufman and Associates.
Brendan Smith with Kaufman Associates.
Jody Eager with LeadingAge.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, I might be jumping around on the agenda since I can't see it, but would like to hear from LeadingAge. Whichever one of you ladies would like to start off and let us know what are some of the big deals that's happening, and we appreciate your involvement, obviously.
I can jump in. This is Amanda, and then I'll pass it on over to Jody, and she can give you a little more nursing home specific detail. But I can talk to you a little bit about what's going on at LeadingAge National. We are preparing for our annual leadership summit, which is just about a month away. It's hard to believe it'll be here again. And but this is our smaller of our two conferences geared towards helping the director level and above among our provider members sort of just tackle some of the big issues facing aging services providers today. It's here in Washington, D.C. From Monday, April 17th to 19th. So I hope some of you might be able to join. Would be wonderful to see you. So that is taking up a lot of our time right now. One of the days is also focused on lobbying efforts up on Capitol Hill. So it's a great opportunity to really raise our voices about the issues that are pertinent among policymakers who are listening to us. So that is going on. We are also about to celebrate what we do every year, which is Careers in Aging Week. As you know, workforce is an issue that we focus on very, very significantly here at LeadingAge, as we know that all of you face workforce challenges. This is a great way. One of the things we do is we invite invite the younger generation, younger populations to consider careers in aging, and that's one of the focuses of this week. I'll put a couple links in the chat so you all can see that. And there's some good tips and tricks for working with local organizations, colleges, universities as well to really get the pipeline of prospective workers into your organization. So that's something we are working on. And another thing is we have this big campaign called Opening Doors, and Opening Doors again also supports the ideas that we want to really promote aging services as a great career choice for people. And then it also really it focuses on shining a really bright spotlight on all the incredible work that you all do every day supporting older adults in your communities across the country. So let's see, I think those are the sort of big ticket items I think that we are working on right now, sort of from a broader perspective. I'll throw it over to Jody, and she can tell you about nursing home work.
Yeah, so we have two advocacy things going on right now that I want to make sure everybody is aware of. We are still waiting, of course, to hear those staffing standards. I don't have any additional news. CMS keeps saying in the spring, but we do have our Get Real on Ratios initiative that we launched back at the tail end of January, and we have an action alert on that, outlining that there are 6 specific conditions that must be met before any staffing standards can be implemented. And so you can check that out on our advocacy page. And then we also have an action alert on the 3-day stay. With that waiver ending with the PHE, we have kind of launched this 2-pronged approach where we are first, on one hand, we're asking HHS to extend a waiver or to make the waiver permanent because we feel like the 3-day stay needs to be eliminated, right? It's an outdated requirement, and the care landscape has changed and all of that. But CMS and HHS can't actually do away with it on their own. So we say they need to make the waiver permanent, while on the other hand, we work with Congress to actually eliminate the requirement. And so that action alert is up on our advocacy page also. And then just on a personal note, I had the great opportunity last month while you all were on this call. I was actually down at R.T. Hendricks on the Tohono O'odham Nation, and so that was really such a cool experience. I was so excited to be there, and I did get to see Travis. Rosie wasn't there that day, but I saw Travis, and he said, "Oh, are you going to be on the call?" And I was like, "Well, not today, but I'm glad to be here." And I'd love to be able to visit all of your communities someday. It's the goal of mine.
Well, we'd love to have you, that's for sure, Jody. And we appreciate what both of you ladies do. LeadingAge is an excellent organization that represents all elders. And so just for U.N.I.T.E to be a part of, we're very humbled and pleased because we have just all this talent. We're all trying to work and make sure that our elders are taken care of. We, of course, believe that the 3-day stay needs to go away, and we also know that we'd all love to have a minimum staffing requirement if there was help out there to hire, if the help wasn't a ridiculous amount of money compared to what it was here a few years ago, and if the state and the federal government would pay their fair share. So those things you have up on your website certainly makes a lot of sense. We could not support minimum staffing unless those conditions are met, like you said. So, yeah, it's a no-brainer to us, but kind of makes you wonder where the brains are if there are no brains. You know. There you go. We could coin that. No-brainer means you have no brains. Okay.
Ron?
Yeah, Jared.
It looks like Joseph might have been able to join us. He may not be able to hop on, but I see that he sent a message in the chat. So anyway, I just wanted to welcome him if he's on.
Thanks,
Okay.
Jared. Yeah. Thanks everyone for bearing with me and my absence. I just am experiencing, as I said in the chat, the good and the bad about living in a facility. I've only been here a few hours, but you know, again, just hoping that U.N.I.T.E can really follow up with its mission. There seems to be a lot of American Indians living in this Albuquerque Heights rehabilitation and nursing home. And it just seems again that as I mentioned, I'm experiencing the good, a lot of good, but then also at times the bad. We have a overflow in our dementia, Alzheimer's units here. And so there's certain individuals roaming the halls here, it's sad to say. They tend to wander into my room and intrude on myself and my roommate's privacy. And at times, you know, the one gentleman's grabbing our gear, and just another gentleman that will just walk up and down the halls in a state of nudity. And it just, again, it just goes to show again how we need to have more, unfortunately, more units, maybe more lockdown units. And, you know, you hate to take away people's freedoms, but again, that imposition on my freedom, it's become clear. And so again, I just wanted to thank everyone for bearing with me. I created such a dilemma for myself that I'm having to face probably another maybe good 2-3 weeks of care here at the facility. And but again, I hope to rejoin you guys in a robust manner. And I just wanted to mention that Melissa Martinez has a question for LeadingAge related to civil monetary penalties. So I'll just say thanks everyone and have a good day, and turn it over to Melissa Martinez from Laguna Rainbow. Are you ready to go, Melissa? Thanks, guys.
Hello, yes.
Thanks, Joseph.
Thank you, Joe. My question is just on the CMPs. I know we were talking on the last call about some grant stuff, but CMPs, are they specific to each state that we would be able to apply for? Or would U.N.I.T.E as an organization be able to apply for a CMP, even though we all don't reside in the same state?
Yeah, so they are operated on the state level, and you do have to apply through your state, but there are certain programs that are approved by the CMP grant reinvestment programs, and those might be approved in like 6 different states. So if there's a specific program, the facility could apply in their own individual states, but you could all be applying for the same to have the same program in your communities. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was just thinking of basically if we came up with a CMP grant that we would all be able to apply for, we would just individually have to apply for, but the goal would be to kind of pull the resource together, possibly. I was just thinking because sometimes I've seen CMP grants applied for, sometimes it's LeadingAge conferences or the Healthcare Association conferences, where they could send like attendees to like a national level or something like that. And so just in theory, I was thinking of how we as a group would be able to kind of tap into that resource. So we could possibly go and have that sort of stuff paid for through the CMPs.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I think it still does have to be applied in each state though, but there could be like together U.N.I.T.E could maybe at least write out the application and kind of have like a standard application that everybody could use individually to apply. And the reason that it's on the state level is because your CMP funds are coming from the funds are being allocated to each of the states based on the CMPs that are levied in those states to the nursing homes. And so like if you have a lot of CMPs in Minnesota, for example, then you're going to have a lot more in the CMP reinvestment fund than you would if there are like no CMPs levied in Missouri or something like that.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
that
you.
makes sense. Melissa, maybe we could think about that and get several facilities to apply. I'm sure that the states, there are certain, I don't know them off the top of my head, but there are certain goals that they want those CMP dollars spent on to imagine improve the quality of the nursing homes. And but we do some research and figure that out. Maybe Jody, are you
Sounds
guys
good.
familiar with, are most of the states have the same objectives with using the CMP money in their state?
I think CMS has kind of like the overarching outline of how CMP funds should be allocated, and the different qualifications that a program would need to meet in order to be given the grant. But I don't know about the specific processes. I do know, I don't have it at my fingertips right now, but I should be able to find it with a quick search, that there is a list of who all of the different contacts for the state CMP offices are. And so I could share that. It would require, calls to 14, 25, 45 different states, because they probably do operate a little bit differently, but they should have, I would guess that CMS has put out at least a skeleton of what how everything should be consistent from state to state.
Yeah.
This is
Thank
Tammy,
you.
and I can tell you in working with our state, they're very specific on what you can apply for, because I have applied before, and that I don't think that Wyoming would ever allow that for CMP funds, because they are so specific.
Okay. But Melissa, that did make me think. There probably are, CMS has a, they have grants that you can apply for through their innovation. I don't know what they call it, Office of Innovation or something like that, but
Yeah.
there might be something U.N.I.T.E to look at through CMS.
Yeah,
Which would
I
take
was
care
just,
of all the.
yeah, I was just wondering, because as I was going through, I know they're state specific, but I did see some from LeadingAge, because I was looking for some, because our state's practically at our last conference through Healthcare Association. Last month were telling us to apply because they didn't have really many applications last year. And so I was going through a couple of years of data, because you could see everyone that's been awarded from every state. And so I was going through all those, and I saw different trainings, whether it was like wound care trainings for nurses. And there were, some of them were like statewide initiatives, and some of them were from those vendors that would teach it, that got those approvals and stuff. And I did see, like I said, LeadingAge had a couple of different states. They had done like a whole bigger application, and then would kind of be they would deviate out to the nursing homes. The nursing homes are applying to them for those specific grants. And so just wondering, it was food for thought.
No, that's great. I mean, you got to think outside the box if we're gonna, and that's we can all come up with ideas, but then you got to chase those ideas down. It takes time, and all the more reason we need an executive director, and maybe a secretary type person. We don't need a big staff, but it'd be nice to have a couple of people that can work on, expanding and getting grants and doing some of these things that we think about. So we all know that. I'm preaching to the choir here. Back to the agenda. We
Looks
had
like-
our treasurer's report. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say on the thing it says KAI report, but we could do the treasurer's report right now.
Okay, it'll take a second. So we got invoices out. Membership money's coming in. Next month we'll spell out how that money come in. I know there are some facility money that's come in, just member money that's come in. So far, about $3,600 this year. We have a little over 13,000 in the bank right now. So from 100,000 feet, our expenses every month is minimal, about $100, and we'll get something more concrete. But we gave that report to the board earlier today. So now we can go into the KAI report.
Sure thing. So hopefully you all received the March issue of the U.N.I.T.E newsletter a couple days ago. Content for the April issue is due the last Wednesday of this month, so the 29th. Please send things to me via email. We have an LTSS webinar next week. It's Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. The title is Seasons of Care, Assisting American Indian Elders with Healthcare Access, Part 2. So this is a follow-up to a presentation that was made during the January LTSS webinar, so hope you can join us. It'll feature 3 presenters from Pacific Institute for Research and Evaluation and another presenter from Western Sky Community Care. And with that note, I should say it's not too early to start thinking about your topic and presenters for the May and July LTSS webinars. The May webinar will come up sooner than you think. It's the exact date is May 24th. And then if you're planning farther ahead, the July webinar, that'll be on the 26th, July 26th. So they're both Wednesdays. LTSS webinars usually are on the 4th Wednesday of a month. And again, it's at 2 p.m. Eastern. And we allocate an hour. So please start thinking about that. And then Ron mentioned earlier that we have updated the tribal care facility directory. So thank you to folks who provided help and answered questions along the way. I will look into that Alaska facility, Melissa, that you mentioned. I hadn't heard of it. So, you know, I'll get my colleagues to look into that. And I think that's it.
Well, we appreciate everything KAI does for us and LeadingAge. We couldn't do half what we do without your help, so we certainly appreciate it. And so get your ideas and stuff for the next newsletter. It does a good job of educating people to U.N.I.T.E, and you know, we just certainly appreciate everything you guys do. Brandon, or Jared, what's next on the agenda?
It says invited guests, which I don't believe that we have any. So if that's the case, then it's the LTSS update, T-tag.
You know, they haven't had very many of those lately. It seems like they're on the calendar and then they get canceled. So I haven't been on one. Maybe I'll reach out to John and find out what's happening, because it's an opportunity for U.N.I.T.E as well as other organizations to stay involved with the T-tag, you know. Does KAI or doubt if LeadingAge knows much about that, but do you guys know much about KAI? Do you guys know much about the T-tags?
Yes, we actually have a contract with T-tag to provide notes. And usually they're contractors who write those notes. So I can double check the schedule, Ron, and see when the most recent LTSS subcommittee meeting was. I feel like there was one somewhat recently, so maybe you're not on the invite.
Well, I keep getting these invites saying it's been canceled, so I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, if you would just reach out and let me know, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you know, it's an opportunity for U.N.I.T E to give feedback about what we see going on around the country. I'd appreciate that.
And then next, it's kind of the topic we've been discussing, grants. So I know it's kind of brought up a little bit here also in our board meeting.
Yeah, Dr. B had shared during the board meeting that there's a possibility of, what was the name of that organization? Dr. B, Native American, what was it? Did we lose him? Anybody remember what the name of that organization
I'm sorry,
that he was
I
going
was
to?
on mute, Ron. I've got like 6 young ladies here having a great party. So,
All right.
yeah, I know, I know. So anyway, they, it's through the, recreational therapy. It's looking at, how are we using new emerging technologies? So probably chronic care management, remote patient management, which is issues in most of the tribal health communities, and how we're dealing with aging. So kind of the rehabilitation, much like Joseph is going through now, and he just mentioned, and so that had a grant that's a 5-year grant up to $925,000. And so that's one possibility. And as Joseph mentioned, there's a greater need for more memory care beds. There's actually a Alzheimer's disease kind of a follow-up for clinical trials. And I'm going to look into it and see if I think St. Louis University, Dr. John Morley, I don't know if anybody's ever heard him, but he's got some NIH and NSF funding for an app that can be used for your physicians and stuff. And I'm going to see if this grant might be able to be applied, because they're looking for cultural significance, and I think we would fit into that niche. And diversity, equity, and inclusion, kind of a health equity issue. So I'll look into that grant as well. They don't have an end date. That's what's interesting. It just has an award ceiling up to 52 million, but there's no the closing date for applications is July 31st, 2023. But they don't really have how many grants they're looking at, which could mean they just haven't had much comment on it, in the comment periods, because they don't have the number of expected awards. And there's no matching requirement. So I always kind of look for that. Do we qualify? And is there a match? Because sometimes that can knock you out from match. But that's another possibility.
That sounds good. Does anybody else have anything else they want to add under the grants? Okay, what's next, Jared?
Ombudsman.
Or was that?
Ombudsman.
Yeah.
I don't think we have anything. QIOs.
Jared, this is Joseph. Just I'll circle back with Ms. Fisher out of South Dakota. She had expressed an interest to join our monthly meetings, but I don't think we got her on the mailing list. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, Christina. Ms. Fisher, I believe her name was leading the effort for South Dakota Ombudsman. And again, we just it would be great if we could include her to start connecting us with other ombudsmen from throughout the nation. So anyway, thank you.
Where would I get that information to add to the list?
I'll research. I'll go back in my emails and find the connection that she had provided for us, and I'll get that email to you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joseph. Then that moves us into new business. So Ron, you kind of mentioned membership fees. I believe the invoices were sent out already, but we can circle back and see which ones have been received, which ones are still left out.
Correct. Yeah.
Then the website.
One of the things that, go ahead, the website. Yeah. It'd be good if everybody could just spend a little time, check the website out, and then if you see some areas of improvement or something that needs to be updated or deleted or whatever, if you get us that feedback, the more eyes we have looking at it, better job we can do to improve the website. So that'd be great if people could just spend 15 minutes looking at it.
Okay. Member businesses?
You know, we talked one time about, you know, a lot of associations have businesses that support the association that they're in. I mean, whether you're LeadingAge or, you know, whoever, whatever, they have business partners that, you know, support the organization. Just like the food vendors, the medical vendors, I mean, your accounting firms, whatever. And so we've not put a whole lot of energy into getting or soliciting business members. That's probably something we would need to dovetail when we have an executive director. But I'm sure that there are organizations out there, vendors that would want to support U.N.I.T.E if we were to reach out to them and give them a reason for them to join us. And it's a revenue stream too. Most associations have them. So that's the reason why that's on the agenda.
Okay.
But I don't think we're ready to do anything on that yet.
Sure. Outreach to tribes?
Well, that was one of the things. Joseph, are you still on?
I am.
Okay, that was one of the areas that we were going to approach the board on. I think Tammy was interested in this too. How to connect with other tribes, and if it was going to take, you know, some of our money, resources to do that outreach, how we would do that outreach, how we would process that. I think that's an area for membership to tell the board that they'd be interested in seeing the movement in that area, because we really need to visit with those other tribes that have nursing homes that aren't members, and then also to be available for tribes that possibly would like to get into long-term care.
You know, my thoughts have always been that we need to approach tribal organizations that have deep pockets, such as the Indian Gaming Association, but you know, our diligence will be that we will come up with a package of what we do, and then tug at their heartstrings. Again, I think I've said this so many times. Tribal leaders at the beginning of the year, or when they're changing in new position or bringing in new tribal leaders, they always go back and fall back on how the tribal elders are the greatest living repository of knowledge and custom and tradition. Yet they don't follow through on their words with money to support our work. And I know a lot of these gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, gotta have a heart. Maybe it's just been so jaded because they tend to say, oh, our plates are full of other issues. And it's like, well, how can you not have a heart or an opening for tribal elders like myself now, living in a facility that, you know, the care is hit and miss. Why can't we come up with a plan to really create something for ourselves? You know, we pride on, again, those words seem so empty. And again, it's always been my goal, investing my own time, and at times, thankfully, U.N.I.T.E has supported me to get to groups like National Congress of American Indians, the National Indian Health Board, all these so-called the American Indian Urban Health Care Group. Why aren't they helping us more? You know, we shouldn't be breaking our backs to do this work when again, it seems that they should be the ones finding us an executive director, finding the funds so that we can find an executive director. And so again, yeah, that will never go far away from me, where I'm going to pray that our tribal leaders will have a heart. So again, maybe I'm naive. You can tell me if I'm naive, Ron, but and group. But again, it's like, come on, you know, tribal leaders, membership of our tribes, cut our elders a break. You know, again, it's I've experienced in my recovery here from my injury, the good, and so much good, but also the bad is really bad. You know, just and it's really, you know, thank you for U.N.I.T.E being there, but again, it's like we're only standing on two legs. That third leg needs to come in with the true support from our tribes. We reached out to Shakopee a few years back for a grant, and again, we, you know, nothing, no consideration there. So again, that's my piece, and I hope, you know, I know that U.N.I.T.E will succeed. We'll find that tribe with deep pockets one of these days. So again, that's my mission. So thank you all.
Thanks, Joseph. Yeah, it's a challenging time. So I think what I'll do is I'll reach out to Joseph and Ina and Brandy and myself as the executive committee. I'll reach out to those folks and see if we can put a work group together on how to do a better job of reaching out to the other tribes that have nursing homes, and then just to the other tribes. So, yeah, I think that would be something I would be interested in working with the executive committee on, coming up with a work group to do that. So, all right, what else we got there, Jared?
You know, Ron, I think that just about does this, unless anybody else has anything for.
Well, just to dovetail that last topic of outreach to tribes, you know, in a few weeks will be the Title VI conference, where we'll have an opportunity to speak to the, I believe it's the Assistant Secretary for, it's the Assistant Secretary for, through the Administration on Community Living under HHS. Cynthia LeCount's group will have the listening session at their conference. And so I think, again, if someone is going to attend from U.N.I.T.E, I hope to go, but again, my healing is going very slow, so I don't think I'm going to make it. But we have an opportunity to it is a tribal consultation, is how it's labeled. And so again, just any opportunities that we have to speak truth to power as it goes, I think we need to do that. So thank you.
That Joseph, that grant was with the Assisted Living Council, that $900,000 grant, just FYI.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, appreciate everybody's attention. You know, it takes all of us to make this organization go, and we're very fortunate to have outside partners that work with us every month. And, you know, we've got some work ourselves to do. And I guess if you've got some comments, just float them my way. I'll do what I can. We are adding a little more personnel to our company, which will free me up a little bit to do some things that I'd like to do. And one of the things I'd like to do is put a little bit more time personally into U.N.I.T.E. So anyhow, that's what I've got for the meeting. I appreciate everybody. Joseph, thanks for jumping on. Jared, thanks for helping out. And everybody else. And we'll visit with you soon. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.